All right, you have misdemeanor and felony arrests. Felonies are basically any crimes in which hard labor is part of the sentence. You go to jail, you get hard time, you go to Department of Corrections, you would go to Angola, hunt one of the prisons, not a parish prison. You get arrested for whatever crime. Police officer thinks you had something in your car, something, whatever reason. A fight was next to you, had nothing to do with it, and somehow you got thrown in the mix. You get arrested, you get handcuffed. They take you to the car, they're gonna bring you to jail, process you. You have 72 hours to have a bond set. I can say this, the worst time to be arrested is on a Friday. You might spend the whole weekend. So know that. Everybody has lives. Somebody has to be on weekends, and justice sadly sleeps. Within the 72 hours, you'll be brought before a magistrate to have a bond set. And when a bond is set, it is to secure your appearance at future court events. So when your trial or other things come, it's an amount of money that says, if you don't come, we're going to take this money. So if a judge says you have a $5,000 bond, chances are it's a misdemeanor. But say, let's keep it $10,000, keep the numbers simple. If you had a $10,000 bond, you would have a few options. To get out of jail, you could either bring in a cash or money order or a certified check to post bond equal to that amount. So you could bring in $10,000 and say, I want to put this money down. When your case is completely over, you get your money back. There's another option is you can post sometimes a property bond. If you have property, you can go through the process of calling through the clerk and the judge's offices and file a property bond. It basically puts a lien against your home for $10,000. You basically have to have that kind of equity. Some judges require appraisals to be on there. The other option is to call a bail bondsman. Bail bondsmen are going to be the quickest probably way out, aside from bringing in the full amount. A bail bondsman is someone you call, they generally charge, and I'm not a bail bondsman, but in my experience it's around 12%. So say you post $1,200 that you're going to go to court, and you don't get that back. That money's gone, that paid the bail bondsman. Now you don't show up to court and they issue a bench warrant, the district attorney can go after that bail bondsman and say, we want our $10,000. That's when the bail bondsman says, let's get Dog or the bounty hunter or get one of these guys to go get you and go turn you in. Those are the ones that'll get you and turn you in at the jail and say, I'm going to surrender him instead of the $10,000. Sadly, posting a bond requires one main ingredient, and that's money. So you don't. You go to jail, you can't make your bond. You're going to sit in there. Now there's two little streams you can go down here, and you have misdemeanors on one side and felonies on the other. You have 45 days if you're charged with a misdemeanor to get to basically your opportunity to go in and plead not guilty. If you're charged with a felony, you have 60 days, and a capital crime is 120 days. So basically you have an extended period of time. You're looking at almost a month in jail before you get to go in and say, I'm not guilty. If you're charged with a felony, and you've waited the full 60 days. Now the law says these are the limits they have. So you get arrested, you sit 72 hours before your bond is set. After your bond is set, now they have 45 days or 60 days to charge you misdemeanor or felony at your initial appearance. That's the date you go in and you say, I'm guilty or I'm not guilty. If you had nothing to do with it, and you're not guilty of a crime, and you can't afford your bond, you have now been in jail at least 30 days. You profess your innocence, you say you're not guilty, so you're going to be given a trial date. At that point, your trial date will be in at least 30 days. So now you're in jail almost 2 months. You're trying to get your police report. You're limited on what information you can and can't get. You thought you had a right to an attorney. You may or may not have met with the public defender's office. Many things take place. You finally realize, I'd like to move into even the felonies. Say you want your motion for speedy trial. You read the statute. You found out that they have technicalities. You're not just afforded your right to a speedy trial. You need to assert in writing in a pleading that you are ready for trial, or your attorney is ready for trial on the next appearance. Without that motion, you don't get it by automatic. If you assert that right, by the time you get to trial on a felony, you've probably been in jail 9 months, maybe close to a year, because you couldn't afford bond. So you want to go to trial, and when you get there, when you get to that point where you show up on your trial date, you may be offered a plea bargain, and I promise you, almost any plea bargain you get is going to involve some type of guilty plea with credit for time served. This way, you get out of jail, The district attorney will get their conviction, but more importantly, what you don't realize, and most don't realize, is by pleading guilty and taking credit for time served, you're a convicted felon. It's almost a scarlet letter in this state. You will not be treated the same. If you're out on probation, you need to be looking for employment. There are conditions. Probation is not easy, not at all. And now you have to try and get a job while having a convicted felon on your record. It's a slippery slope. But who wouldn't choose to get out of jail? Or the possibility of the other side is try your case. And in most instances that I know is if you try your case, your sentence will probably be more harsh than if you pled guilty before trying your case. That is completely sad, and I think completely sad, and very true so far in my experience. If you try your case, if you're innocent, you need to remember that the sentence, the punishment might be more harsh than what you're already done. Because we live in a world of what you can and can't prove. And it's not a perfect system at all. It's the one we have, and sadly, if you're arrested and you can't afford bond, what I see happen far too much is if you're arrested and you had nothing to do with this crime, and you can't afford your bond, and you want to maintain your innocence, you're gonna sit in jail a little while. And it might be until you change your mind.